As an owner, I love the Breeders' Cup Win and You're In series.
To win one of these challenge series is a way that we kind of map out our schedule throughout the year with our horses.
If you win one of the challenge races, you have a very good horse.
The King George, which is our Win and You're In race, provides the top middle distance horse in Europe. We saw Highland Real run in both races.
We know when we show up at the Breeders' Cup, we've got the world to beat, not just everybody in the United States. Breeders' Cup Challenge, win, and you're in.
Hi there, thanks very much indeed for joining us. Laurent Barbarin joins me in the studio as we look ahead to the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Stakes, which is part of the Breeders' Cup Challenge, the Win and You're In scheme. In other words, if the winner on Saturday at Ascot, Laurent, will head off with the free pass to the Breeders' Cup turf.
Very exciting contest, Mike, obviously. Everyone's looking forward to it, but it's great to see all these champions lining up this Saturday. Yeah. Can't wait. I
can't wait either. And the betting, of course, shows that Enable is odds-on, as you would expect, to win the King George for the second time in 3 years. No horse has ever regained the King George crown, and she's 6-4 on to do that. Up against Crystal Ocean, her old rival, 11-4. The Derby winner, Anthony Van Dyke, is a 7-1 chance. And the Coronation Cup winner, Defoe, is on 12-1. So we've got all the stars here lining up at Ascot on Saturday. Let's have a chat about Enable, because, Laurent, she missed out last year. She wasn't quite at her best last year. And, of course, this year, the start back was the Sandown Eclipse Stakes, and she was absolutely brilliant in that, wasn't she?
What a comeback race. What a comeback race. When you think last year she was not at her top, but that's what we think. She still managed to win the Arc de Triomphe, which is not a small deal. So, you know, when we think this year, after a good comeback run at Sandown, everything seems to be into places. The filly's in great form. She's going into the race in what looks to, you know, she looks to be at the top of her game. Yeah. She looks very hard to beat.
Let's remind ourselves what happened when she took in the King George as a 3-year-old, of course, and she was absolutely magnificent this day, beating none other than Ulysses, the top 4-year-old of the season. And she didn't just beat him, she absolutely pulverised him by over 4 lengths here. This is when we knew we had something special on our hands, Laurent. This was very, very good.
But a display of class already, but you could see that she was already at this time a champion, obviously, and she's just went on and won the Arc. Now, it's just one of these outstanding horses that we're lucky enough to witness in our time. There's just a few of them. We're just lucky to be there at the right time.
Well, I mean, after last year, she went on, of course, she won the September Stakes up against Crystal Ocean. She got £8 from Crystal Ocean at the September Stakes at Kempton. Not an easy task for Crystal Ocean that day. And then on that, she went on to the Arc and scrambled home from Sea of Class before going to the Breeders' Cup Turf and becoming the first Arc winner to win the Breeders' Cup Turf. She's made history wherever she's gone, Laurent.
Yeah, that's the thing. She's made history already, and she probably this year, I would think, as a five-year-old, assuming that she has not been overpushed and anything, as a 5-year-old, she's probably as good as ever. So it would be just looking at the Breeders' Cup here, the pictures. And I still think in the Arc, obviously, she had been sick 10 days before the Arc, so she was not at the top of her game. At the Breeders' Cup, she did not. It took her a good run and a hard fight to come on top of Magical that day, but it was probably not her best race. I think what we saw at Sandown this year is much better than that, in my view, Mike.
You don't think she was at her best last year, then?
No.
Even though she won the Arc and the Breeders' Cup Turf, she got away with it because she's got so much courage and raw ability.
Yes, at no stage. I think at Kempton, it was a comeback run from a long, long layoff. Yes. And then she beat Crystal Ocean very, very easily that day, although she was receiving some weight of him. But still, she won the Arc. She'd been sick 10 days before. And then after a hard race like the Arc, she went on to the Breeders' Cup, still managed to win. She won because she's just she's, in my view, she's an outstanding filly, a mare now, but she's just something out of the ordinary.
Well, Crystal Ocean is a little bit better off at the weights compared to what he was in last September's September Stakes, and he won his Group 1 finally in the Prince of Wales' Stakes at Royal Ascot in June, dropping back to 1.25 miles. And he's a most admirable racehorse, this, Laurent. I mean, he's very, very hard to knock. He might just lack that spark of absolutely true brilliance that the filly has got.
that's probably the case, although it was a very good display here, I think. Not taking anything from the horse, because obviously he's a top-class horse, but here it's a bit of a Frankie show, I have to say, and in some ways, you know, Frankie Dettori played a big part in winning this race. He kicked on at the right time, and he had the race basically 1-3 furlongs from home. That's when he kicked, that's where he got the race won, in my view. Still, the horse is a fantastic horse. I think over a mile and a half, it's going to be hard to take on a filly like a mare like Enable.
Do you think, though, that he's better at a mile and a half, this horse, as I do? I think mile and a half suits him more comfortably than a mile and a quarter.
Crystal Ocean.
Crystal Ocean, yeah.
Looking all over, I like very much the way he's got the speed to go over a mile and a quarter. I don't know. I'm just thinking he has more of a task meeting these horses like Enables over a mile and a half, these top-class horses. Over a mile and a half, I think, in my view, I would prefer him over a mile and a quarter.
OK. And he's trained by Sir Michael Stout, who's won it 6 times.
Here we are.
Won the race, won the King George 6 times.
Here we are.
There's a few things in the positive box there. What about the Derby winner, Anthony Van Dyke? Of course, he came out on top in that incredible blanket finish at Epsom. And then last time out, he got upset by his own pacemaker, Sovereign, in the Irish Derby. This is Anthony Van Dyke winning the Lingfield Derby trial in the true professional manner that he has. I do admire this horse, Laurent, but I do wonder whether he's going to be found wanting up against these top-class older horses. What are your thoughts?
This is the thing. He won the Epsom Derby, which is already it's a massive win. But then he was beaten 6 lengths in the Irish Derby. I think if he'd won the Irish Derby by 6 lengths, you would think, oh, he's going in like a proper challenger. But I think on the race in Ireland, and you can say whatever the way the race unfolded that day was a bit special, but still he was well beaten 6 lengths. I'm on that performance. It's hard to see a horse like him, although it's very good to come on top of Enables.
Yeah, yeah. What do you say as the best each-way outsider? I'm quite a Volguy's fan at around about 20 to 1. Would you? I mean, because he's French, but Andre Faber's only had the 1 King George winner, hasn't he, so far?
Yes. Well, he's had only 1 Epsom Derby winner. I would not worry too much about it. I think Pierre Chalboudot probably did not give him the best of ride in the Prince of Wales Stakes. He was a little bit too far back behind at the time when Crystal Ocean kicked on. Yes. And I think he will ride him a bit more aggressively this time. The mile and a half is going to suit him a little bit better. And I think he's at a massive price, 16 or 20 to 1. I think each way is a horse. He was not too far from Enable in the Arc. He's got Group 1 form, proper Group 1 form. I'm not saying he's going to win because obviously he's probably not good enough on what we've seen so far, but he seems to be in great shape this year. And I think at this price, he's a very good each-way bet. OK, great stuff. But we both agree that Enable is going to be extremely hard to beat. No question about that. Very hard to beat. She's the champion. She's the one everyone has to take on, and she's something really special. We would not like to see her beaten, because then we would think, what about the Arc? What about the Breeders' Cup? What about the end of the year? Because what we all looking forward to also is the big target is the Arc. So a 3rd Arc would be fantastic.
Yeah, it certainly would. And that's further on down the line. Both races, of course, live on Sky Sports Racing. 3:40, the King George on Saturday. Don't miss it. Thanks for watching.
As an owner, I love the Breeders' Cup Win Your In Series.
To win one of these challenge series is a way that we kind of map out our schedule throughout the year with our horses.
If you win one of the challenge races, you have a very good horse.
The King George, which is our winning in race, provides the top middle distance horse in Europe. We saw Highland Real running both races.
We know when we show up at the Breeders' Cup, we've got the world to beat, not just everybody in the United States. Breeders' Cup Challenge, win, and you're in.